Hello and welcome to the Yearnings Podcast. I'm Christine and I'll be your host. This is episode 98. Wow. It is Friday, November 18th. It is already getting dark outside. It's currently 4:30 here in Vancouver, Washington, and there is not as much natural light coming in the windows, but I think that's still going to be okay for a recording. It was a very windy day. I was outside just a little while ago, and it was like there was a wind tunnel going through the area that I was having to stand at for the bus. So that was a little crazy. It was really cold wind. It says that it is, what did I write down? It is 48 degrees, but it felt colder than that. It felt like snowy wind. The lady on the bus said it felt like she was at Timberline Lodge, which is at Mount Hood, which is the mountain you can see from Portland. She said she felt like it was wind that you would feel up there, and I agreed. So welcome to the show. Thank you for coming back if you have watched before or listened way back in the day. Thank you if you are brand new and checking this podcast out. I can see right now that my shawl is inside out. I just flopped it the wrong way. There you go. Now you can actually see the color lines. Haha! Thank you. Thank you for being patient while I adjust my clothes. So, let's move into some life stories. I'll tell you a little bit, and then everything else will be as we go. I've been doing a little decompressing from the events of last week's United States-based stuff. I'm not going to go into that, but it has taken a little decompressing. Beyond that, we had a weekend where we didn't have anything to do but grocery shop, and so I got to take a luxurious day where we stayed in, and my husband and I played games and we cooked together, and it was a really nice day. We watched some stuff, and that was a really nice introduction into the holidays where there will be lots of weekends where there is more going on than grocery shopping. So this was a nice thing. Beyond that, just normal stuff. Trying to give myself proper amounts of rest. Trying to cook good meals for my husband. And yeah. How about we go into some yarnings, adventures in knitting. I started a new row while I was talking here, but that's okay. I'm going to hold it up and show you where I'm at on my NaKniSweMo sweater. So this is the Princess Fiona by Amy Miller, yes, in Sucks That Rock, medium weight and lightweight. Oh, that color is very off. No. Maybe if I hold it back there, it's a little better. This is my adaptation of it, where I am making the lace inset with an alternate color. So that's where the fingering, or the lightweight Sucks That Rock comes in. So you can see my triangle has gotten much bigger of the lace in proportion to the sweater. It just grows to consume more of the sweater, and it's adding some increases for width on either side as well. So you can see that I have an opening on this side instead of working in the round because I am doing the lace as intarsia. So I have 2 balls of purple that I'm working from, and then 1 ball that I'm working from either end so that I can alternate, because you can see that there is a lot of variation in the color. You can see there's a little chunk here that was not alternated. I'm fine with it there. It's not a big deal, but for the whole sweater, I didn't want just one chunk of the darker, so I am alternating. So I am working with basically I have 4 balls of yarn. One for each purple, one that's the alternating purple, and one that's the lace. It does take detangling every few rows because you can see on the inside here, you have to trap the intarsia stitches in by wrapping them over each other, and that makes the yarn have to go over top of each other, making it a little more twisty. So I haven't measured lately to see where I'm at, but I'm trying to use lots of the yarn, so I'm pretty sure that I will keep going lengthwise. I haven't yet decided what I want to do about the sleeves. I had an idea, but I think I might just do it as a tank, make it nice and long, and I will get more wear out of that at different times of the year because I can wear a long sleeve shirt underneath. So this is my Purple Princess Christine, and it is the primary thing that I knit on this week. Everything else only got a little bit of knitting time. I have put a lot of my emotional days trying to knit between being emotional. So that is that. The next thing that I worked on, but I only worked on it today on the bus since you saw it last because I took it off of the counter behind here to bring it with me on the bus. I was wearing my Risen cardigan from the Big Bad Burgalong and knitting on my Kaylee Walks on the Sun Sunwalker from the Big Bad Burgalong. And I am slowly working on the brown coat, brown lace to go with the lovely Kaylee colors. Yeah, this just got set aside because I'm working on the sweater for NaKniSweMo. I wanted to get as much done on that as possible, but this will probably get some more work on it before the end of November as well. I haven't decided if I'm entering into the Big Bed Burgalong threads that the other podcasters are doing. We shall see. So, yeah, that's coming along, but just slowly. But I was glad to get to pick it back up again. It is a great project. And that is by Melanie Berg in Hollyhoy, Batlings that I spun up, and Womisa for the brown. So that's that one. And I put a little bit of work into my socks that we decided it didn't have the name there. Botanical Batty Bee socks was what I was calling them. Euglacia Watsonia. So I knit enough for the toes to be done, and I started in on the cables. I am worried that I still don't have enough ease for the cables because there are a lot of cable crosses on the row. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. If I go back and add more stitches, or if I plug on forward and have enough to be able to really try on. I mean, this isn't enough to really tell. I could also, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3. There's not enough to do just a central one. So I'm not sure. These are kind of on hold, and I may cast on another pair of socks so that I have something easy to pick up for Thanksgiving Day. But I need to do a little more brain work on that, I think. So that's that. Those are both kitchen counter crafter bags. This one has moved into a yarn pop bag because it's got a big crossbody strap. So I've been able to wear it when I've brought it with me, and or even have it on the back of a chair when I've been downstairs with it, and that has helped get some time on it. And then I'm thinking about the things that I want to knit on in the coming days. I have some D-stash yarn coming for the hat that I'm going to knit, and I have 2 Christmassy colors of knitted wit that I'd like to be knitting on. So those are all potential needle adjacent, but the sweater's getting the most love. How about some spinning a tale? I didn't bring my spinning in here because it has not gotten a lot of progress this week. It is still sitting on the floor next to my couch because I am working on it, but I haven't done a lot. But I did flip through Yarn a Texture, which is a spinning book by Jillian Moreno, where she talks about how to make the yarn you want to knit with and what kinds of things can go into a yarn to make it turn out the way you want it to. It was a really great book. It had so many good skill points, lots of things that you could do, choices you could make for how that yarn is going to be used. And I could see it being a really great reference book to add to my library. It is a little more focused towards spinning wheels, which I don't have a spinning wheel, I just have spindles. So that I could see it being an awesome book once I get a wheel. There is still a lot of really great information that would help me as a spindle spinner. And that one I think is going to go on my wish list. So if you, I would recommend checking it out, especially if you are a wheel spinner. See if your library has it. That's how I looked through it. I love the idea of checking a book out of the library as a try before you buy kind of thing. It also gives some circulation to that book in the library, which informs the librarians on what books are popular and probably helps them decide what parts of the collection could be enhanced with more purchases. So I always feel really good about checking out books out of the library and seeing them that way. For multi-craftual, I thought I'd add that in today because I went to the craft store, one of the craft stores today, and I am going to make some snowflakes for the Christmas tree. I wanted some green. I'm going to make small green snowflakes, and I found the back of the green has this really cool advent display of different things, and I thought it might be fun to have that up on my refrigerator that I could mark with a magnet of where we were at, because that would be a fun countdown and an easy one. And then I also grabbed this one because it's all the colors that I want my tree to have on it this year. Red and pink and a nice medium appley green, and then aqua. So these are going to turn into snowflakes. I got a little pack that has some small papers, and I got a fresh pair of scissors because I didn't think I had any scissors that were as sharp as I wanted them to for snowflakes, especially with the heavier paper. Oh, I also grabbed a pair of little pom-pom makers. I did not have a pom-pom maker, and at the moment that I hit the yarn aisle in this craft store, it's mostly there's some Cascade. It's not quite as low quality yarn as a big box store has, but it's not fancy yarn by any means. But I was listening to the Knit More Girls podcast, and they were talking about pom-poms, and it reminded me that I really wanted some pom-poms for my tree. So I got the itsy bitsy one. This is the small, 1 3/8 and 1 5/8. So I'm going to try those out. I've only ever made pom-poms with the cardboard maker. That's the end of multi-craftable. But let's have some knitting community and talk about our NaKniSweMo topic of the week. NaKniSweMo, just a reminder, National Knit a Sweater in a Month, or Knit a Sweater Month. And last week we talked about kind of the introduction to this series and then the fabric attributes that I used in my previous NaKniSweMo sweaters. But this week we're going to talk about sweater construction. And this is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart because I have a very clear preference. And I don't know if it's really the perfect preference. So, options for sweater construction. The options that I see, that I use when I'm picking are, is it going to be in pieces or is it going to be seamless? And is it going to be top up or is it going to be bottom down? Top down, bottom up. Yes, I said that backwards the first time. And you guys probably know that I tend to knit seamless or mostly seamless and top down because one, I don't always have a lot of extra yarn, and so I want to make it the most length that I can have it, and the most fullness that I can have it. I love my sweaters to have more fullness around my hips, or being tunic length with a little more fullness like a dress style. That feels like the flattering style for my body shape. That might not be for everybody, but that's what I enjoy wearing. So, of course, that's going to be what I'm going to knit. But I have knit several successful seamed sweaters. I'm going to show you a couple. This one is actually in the cabinet behind me because for a while it was too big. I haven't tried it on lately. It might not be too big for me anymore. This is the Angostura vest. It's got this beautiful twisted rib cable. This is by Isolde Teague, and I made it way back in like 2011 or something. And it is knit in pieces and seamed. And when I knit it, I realized it was not wide enough once I seamed it up. So I unseamed it and I added a gusset, basically. I knit a middle section and seamed it on both sides. I didn't do it quite right. I increased at the top and it kind of pooched out. And here's the beautiful cable on the back. So I need to try this back on and see how it fits me now. I suspect it might work, but the way that I did the little gusset at the top might need some, I don't know if I could tack it, but, oh, it's beeping at me. But I did successfully seam this sweater. You can see on the inside, it's got these ridges where it was seamed, so I could probably take out the gusset. But it is Madeline Tosh vintage, whatever their worsted singles are, and it has a tendency to felt. So I feel like it would be difficult to take that gusset out. Maybe not impossible, but I did wear it an awful lot when I wore it. So that one was seamed. It was also seamed in the shoulders. The more successful one that I have seamed is my NaKniSweMo sweater from 2014, the first year that I did, which is my Alta. This is a custom fit design, so it's an Amy Herzog pattern. It's got this big cowl neck on the top. Also has fabulous cables in it. I'm going to show you the front panel. There we go. Fabulous cables. And it was knit in 4 pieces. The front, the back, and each sleeve. And the sleeves were knit flat and then seamed up. I think that when I seamed this one up, I may have taken too big of chunks of the pieces to sew it together because it is an awfully thick seam, which is much more noticeable to my arms on the inside of the sleeve. That's where I notice it. I don't notice it so much in the side seams. Oh, and then I had to seam the cowl in. That's right. The cowl was also, I think, nope, maybe that was knit on. It was knit on. I remember now. I like how this fits me. It does have nice shaping. Having the seams, especially on the shoulders, seem to let it sit really nicely, and they are set in sleeves. The thing that helped me a lot with this was some tutorials on Amy Herzog's site about your seaming process. I'll try to link to that. And yeah, so on one side, I really do appreciate the seamed top seams. That does give it some stability. So I could see working with partially seamless projects where you seam shoulder seams, you knit a front and a back and then join them and then work your way seamless down. And that's kind of how this one is. You knit one, my Fitbit just told me I won the hour. You knit the back, pick up the stitches, and knit down on the fronts. So there is a little more stability, even though it's not a very sturdy stability, because it was just picked up, not an actual seam. But it does give a little more stability. So maybe this is the way that I should lean towards to give myself that extra oomph right at the top. So that's kind of what I think about when I'm picking sweater constructions. I think about how long can I make it. I really do like knitting top down. And it's hard for me to think of a time that I would not. I mean, if I was knitting something with all the yarn in the world, I think I'd still want to knit it top down. But there are a lot of good patterns that start at the bottom up. I have gotten around that, doing things like the laneway tunic, where it was written bottom up, so I knit from the patterning on the breast upward and did the straps, and had provisionally cast on so then I could continue working down. That made me sure that I had enough yarn for the top of it, and I could give enough for the bottom, as much as I wanted for the bottom. And so that is another way that you can get around that. I would really like to knit some more custom fit patterns, but they're all flat. So I might just need to bite the bullet and try some more of them so that I can feel super confident in my knitting abilities. In the variety of ways that I can knit, so I can really find the kind of sweater that is best for me. So what do you look for when you are picking a construction of your sweater? I would love to hear in the Ravelry forums. Let's move in to some sagas of geekery. For now playing, we, like I was saying before, we had a weekend in, and so we got to play some games, and that meant we played some bigger ones. We played Caverna, which takes up a lot of the table space because it's got a lot of stuff. We have a really nice bagging system down, and the bowls that we use work out to make it work, and we have the table big still, so that was great. We played Race for the Galaxy with a new expansion we had, Imperial Settlers, which has a nice box for it, and Viticulture the next day. It's a good combo of some favorites and some newer things, and I enjoyed that. And I'm still playing iOS games on my phone. Marvel Tsum Tsums are so cute. For now watching, I started and watched all the episodes so far of Designated Survivor. That is the new show on ABC with Kiefer Sutherland. The Designated Survivor is the person who is in a different location during the State of the Union address, and just in case something happens to everyone at the State of the Union. So, that did, and he was Designated Survivor. Really good show. I enjoy that. I enjoy seeing how people get through a disaster situation. That's why I enjoy disaster movies. I also caught up with Conviction. I'm rewatching The West Wing. I started rewatching Once Upon a Time. We tried Luke Cage, and we made it 3 episodes, and the pacing on it is just very odd, and so we had a really hard time enjoying it, so we may not finish that one out. And then I found ABC throwbacks on the ABC app on my Apple TV and on the webpage version of abc.com. They have a bunch of older series that are not available on Netflix. And so I'm watching Flash Forward again for the first time since it was on live. That was one that I really enjoyed, but it only went for 1 season. But there's a variety of other ones that I have been interested in watching, like Brothers and Sisters, and that is on there. So that's kind of fun. I'll try and link to the page that has the list of the throwbacks. And we found out on Thursday night that The 100 added season 3's episodes to Netflix. And so we have begun in on the 3rd season, and we will be all caught up by the time the 4th season comes out. And I'm excited about that, so we can watch that live on the CW. Okay. For now, reading. I'm rereading Intuitive Eating right now. I'm actually listening to it. I already told you about Yarn a Texture, and I have a cookbook that I'll tell you about in a minute. Now, listen to the Hamilton soundtrack again many times, as one does. Oh, I needed to move my stitch markers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the second one, so it needs to go 3 more forward. Okay. There we go. That makes a difference. You move your stitch markers when you end a repeat of lace. So I'm at the point that the bottom of this square is done and the top of this is finished. So then you move your stitch markers out on the wrong side so that you're ready to do the lace on the right side. It's just adding additional stitches to be eaten up by the lace. For just general geekiness, I installed a wiki on my computer. Like Wikipedia, it's MediaWiki. And I had done that before, but it was a couple of computers ago, and that's helping me with a little bit of organization. I made some business cards for a friend this week. I had worked on her website, Coco Loco Paper Crafts on Etsy. I did the banner for that and vectorized her monkey so that it could be used in more situations. And so now we worked on her business cards, and that was a fun thing to do. But I think that's all the geekiness, so let's have some fanciful chatter. I got a haircut today. So the wind was crazy, like I was saying, and so it is a little mussed up compared to what it was. But it is all the way short on this side now. So it goes all the way up to my part. Before, there was some that actually hung down on this side. And it is all the way short underneath the curls on this side, which is just awesome. And so the back is just nice and sleek. So I feel super sleek. I got a little cut off on the ends. I recolored it last week, so the pinks and the reds are more vibrant again. There's, you can see the red up there. And I'm really happy with it. I love my hairdresser. If you are in the Vancouver area, let me know that if you need a haircut recommendation. She does more than just curly hair, but she does my curly hair really well. So when I was looking through Pinterest for haircut ideas this time, I kept coming across pictures of Jennifer Goldwyn, who's Mary Martha and Snow White on Once Upon a Time. And so that inspired me to go back and start watching that again. And it reminded me that that was around the time that I started wanting my hair short, when I first watched Once Upon a Time. I don't remember what season that was, but whichever year that was when I started wanting short hair. And it took me quite some time after that before I gave in and actually got it cut. And now I'm looking at her haircuts for inspirations again, and it all comes full circle. I'm also wearing my Color Affection shawl. This is one that I knit in 2014, which I remember because I was working on it when I went to Rhinebeck with Heather and Angel. And it is nice and long. It's got 3 colors, orange and green and purple. This is a lace weight version out of Knit Picks lace weights. And I love wearing this in the fall. This is perfect fall colors. Not that I couldn't wear it more of the year, but to me, this screams fall. And so it felt really nice to wear that over top of my Risen today. That felt very nice and fall-like. I might wear it again on Thanksgiving because it works so nice. I'm sure I did the year that I finished it. Maybe it wasn't done. I'm sure I did once before. And then I've got my Chloe and Isabel Geovista series pretties on. I have ColourPop eyes. I'm using the gold on the lid is a highlighter color, and so it's really soft and smooth and it goes on really well. It's more sheer than some of their other stuff, And so it works really nice on my eyes, especially when I've had allergy issues, which I have lately. They've been very dry. And so putting on something that goes on more sheer lets it go on well. So, oh, and then my lips are Sephora's Cream Lip Stain. I've showed you guys this one before. I had my, it's not right here. I had my Besame in the dusty pink color, and it just wasn't quite popping with with the colors I was wearing today, so I put this on for the podcast. Okay, how about book of cooking? I am drinking, it's not super warm anymore, but this is a beautiful holiday cup from Black Rock Coffee Bar. This is a local to me coffee company. They have coffee stands, and now they've started adding coffee shops, and that's where I'd been going this summer when I went downtown for whole days. And this is a spicy pumpkin dirty chai, and it was supposed to be a fall only drink, but they still had it when I went, so I grabbed that. I actually went to a drive-up version of the coffee shop because I was trying to get on the bus, and they let me order right there from the drive-thru. It was super windy though, so I'm really glad I got something warm. And it's very delicious. This week I made some cookies with a carrot cake cake mix, mixed with a small can of pumpkin and walnuts, and then turned those into cookies with cream cheese frosting. Really easy, really good. They come out really sticky when you've first mixed it together because the pumpkin and the cake mix just make a stickiness. But then once you cook them, they're really great. The cream cheese frosting makes them super moist. So that was a really fun experiment. I made fried chicken soup yesterday, which is a curry celery soup, and half a pasta, which is just a pasta bake in my Instapot. I did pancakes one day. I had French toast with persimmons on it for lunch one day. Gardein chicken cutlets with sweet potato gnocchi. That was fun. And then hand tacos, which I was calling them hand tacos because you have to build them in your hand and you can't set them down because they get so full. They're just the little tortillas, corn tortillas, fried up a little bit, and then fillings. So, hand tacos. Okay, the happiness continues. My new Fitbit. So my old one, this part came off. The little button kept coming out, and it was just not salvageable. Okay, maybe it would have been, but it's not. It was not staying on my wrist well. Let's see, just pops in and out. It doesn't click into anything anymore. And so I contacted them, and they gave me a discount code to get the new one. This, because they don't sell that version, they came out with a new one, which is the Fitbit Charge 2. It's got a bigger display. The feature that is reminding me to wick, what you can when you can, is every hour it tries to get me to have walked at least 250 steps. Which may not sound like much to y'all, but especially on high pain days, sometimes I will sit on the couch for longer than an hour. It happens. But I could always take 250 steps an hour, or at least a trip to move some things from my exercise room to another place in the house, even if it's not 250 steps. So it reminds me at 10 till how many more steps I need to get to 250. And that has actually been helping me quite a bit. Sometimes I stand up and I do some stretches. Sometimes I go bring a load of things downstairs. I have walked back and forth a few times just to get some extra steps in. And that's, every little bit counts. That is enough. And I am really grateful for the chance to get this newer version, because I think that's going to help me. So that is one of my happiness points. I also was very proud to vote on Election Day. That was since the last time we talked. And next week will be a different Thanksgiving, because I'll be home alone while my husband is going to see his family. I'll be attending the Thanksgiving here with my family, but I will have alone time surrounding that while Eric is doing his traveling and whatnot. So I bet that I will have all sorts of crafty goodness to share with you with my alone time, and probably some more interesting TV watching and all of that, because I will just be doing what fulfills me. So I'm excited about that. And with that, I think, I didn't talk to you about my cookbook, but I will tell you about that next week. I don't think it's due back yet, so I will do that next week. All right, so you can connect with me on the internet. I am Christine with a K on Ravelry. I am KDLB, just the letters, on Instagram. The Yarnings podcast group on Ravelry is where I post updates, as well as the Facebook page for the Yarnings page on Facebook. I post updates on those places. And you can find the show notes with links to everything that I talk about on yarningspodcast.com, all squished together. All right, so until next time, that's the story. Bye.